Joining us now is former Eskom executive and former interim CEO Matshela Koko. All right, in fact, we are trying to get Matshela Koko up, and of course he is very critical of the current Eskom board, current Eskom executives, but he's also had his fair share of critics, and there are some reports I'd like to put to him that what was happening in 2016 and 2017, years ago, the lack of maintenance, the use of diesel at all costs, affecting us now. Mr. Koko, you are with us. You have been very outspoken about Eskom's leadership. Quickly, your take on what's happening right now.
Well, it's disastrous. It's an unmitigated disaster. I think there are three takeaways from the press briefing of this afternoon. One is that every single one that was on the press briefing has no experience with generation, which means none of the people who were talking to the South African public can talk with confidence about what is happening about generation and keeping the lights on. The man that was supposed to be addressing us, Mr. Mzwandile Philip Tukashi, was not there, and there was no explanation that why was he not there. The second takeaway is that the municipalities and the key customers are not assisting Eskom during load shedding. Now, that's a very serious problem, because we need all the cooperation of all the stakeholders to keep the system so that it does not collapse. And I agree with those who say that the Eskom systems operator is very competent, he knows what to do, and when he makes the call to protect the system, the municipalities and the key customers must cooperate with him, otherwise there's a disaster. The third takeaway is that the stable power stations of Eskom are showing signs of collapse. And Letabo is a very stable power station, and we are told that 3 of the units at Letabo were off, and that's why we are state shedding. That's 1,800 megawatts. That should worry us. But what should worry us the most is that if we think that situation is dire now, wait until February 2022, when the Kubek when the units at Kubek are coming off between February and June for the replacement of the steam generators. Yeah. I think it's going to be very difficult. But most importantly, we saw a spin from Eskom about what happened in Zambia. I think it was very pathetic for Muto to be asked to explain the inexplainable. I think the public and the consumers have a reason to be worried. I don't see a leadership at Eskom that is in control here.
Mr. Koko, thank you. I think you've outlined all your concerns. You've also had your critics, however, over the years, some of them blaming you for what we're experiencing right now. I'd like to get your comment, because we don't have much time, on a News 24 investigation that came out late last month, saying that you cooked the electricity books, that maintenance was deferred. There was a widespread manipulation of Eskom data when you were in charge, and no load shedding. Yes, so it looked good, but that was because of the expensive diesel burning open cycle gas turbines. Basically, the claim is that you pushed the system beyond its limits, and we're bearing the brunt of that.
So let me put it this way. If I can keep the books and keep the lights on without doing diesel, and execute the planned maintenance tasks at 13.9%, at 14%, and keep the lights on, I will do it again.
Were you deferring maintenance, crucial maintenance? No. Did you apply pressure on power stations not to report breakages?
So put it this way. The power stations that work for me are still at Eskom. They should be able to put affidavits that they were forced to keep the lights on. Let me say it again. If I can keep the lights on without burning diesel and not load shed, and the third-party auditors are happy with that, I will do it again.
Even if it comes at a cost in terms of breakages in future, like what we're experiencing now?
But you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. So don't mislead SABC viewers. You do not know that what you're talking about. You can't even spell it.
Okay, so you're saying that the system was not hurt in any way by what you were doing. The News 24 investigation is completely wrong.
I am saying to you, we kept the lights on. We did so without burning diesel. We executed the most number of maintenance in the history of Eskom, and then the regulator says so, and we did so without burning diesel, and the independent auditors are happy, and Eskom in its own words says Mr. Koko's team complied with the Eskom regulations. I will do it again.
Mr. Koko, finally, I'd like to give you a chance to respond. Minister Pravin Gordhan was being grilled the other night about what was happening in Eskom. You were mentioned by name by a journalist. He didn't mention your name, but he said to the journalists, you know, the people you've spoken about were involved in state capture. My take is that he was implicating you possibly in state capture. Were you involved in state capture at all, sir?
State capture was good for Eskom because it kept the lights on without burning diesel and without doing maintenance. If state capture means that Eskom kept the lights on, and if state capture meant that the Eskom cost came down, if state capture meant that the lights were kept on, let it be. I'm happy to be associated with that type of state capture.
All right, thank you for your time tonight. That was former interim Eskom CEO and former Eskom executive Matshela Koko.